Welcome to the Stream It Sports 2017 Football Coaches Preview Show. Today we feature Coach Mark Brook from the Rocky Mountain Lobos. Good to see you, Coach. I've also got David Haase here with me, and we're going to talk a little bit of football, Rocky Mountain style, to Coach Brook.
Well, when talking earlier about how long you've been around, and you start doing those numbers, and it's like it starts adding up, doesn't it?
Too quick.
Yeah.
Way too fast. Yeah. So it's been, I think I'm going on, this is year 13 or 14 as my head coach, and I've been in the program in some capacity around 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get a chance, though, to be that experience in the school. And, you've had teams, you've had ups and downs, you've had successes of individuals, and et cetera. So you talk about last year, one of those near-miss years, not everything you wanted to have happen. Translate that to how it went over the year and what you're looking forward to this year.
Last year was, in those in public education have been around sports, know that's the reality of how things go. We had a handful of kids move out before the year started. We had a handful of key injuries early on in the season, and we had a lot of bumps in the road. I'll be truthful with you. And to our kids, just to our kids calling, to the character of our kids, they handled it fantastic. I was never more proud of a group of kids. They worked their tails off in practice every day and truly playing our best football at the end of the year, which wasn't the best of football, but we were playing our best football at the end of the year. And so to the kids' credit, they're going to take more away from that in the grand scheme of what life's about than their record. So I was super proud of that group. And to build on for this year's team, we had, I think, give or take, at any point in the time, probably some routine 8 to 9 sophomores starting throughout the year last year. And so a lot of kids got a lot of good experience against some talented football teams. So we're hoping that pays off this year. There's still a lot of work to be done, but those experiences they took with them, some highs and lows, will carry into hopefully some successes this season for them.
Yeah, so your letterman returning are those green bananas from last year that the dividends pay this year, and Randy will go through that with you a little bit on offense now, and who are the kids that you look forward to have coming back that way?
Okay. Well, offensively last year we had a handful of young kids playing. We had, obviously both Jordan and Cam at running back were both sophomores last year, and so they're both coming back. Clayton played a lot for us at wide receiver last year. He'll continue to play somewhat wide up. He's also going to play quarterback for us this year. We had both the levels were a huge part of our offensive line last year, both Noah and Spencer, and they were anchoring that down last year, so they'll be back. Christian Atherton played a lot of the tight end spot, if you will, for us last year, and he's kind of moving into the trenches in the line this year. So, we have a lot of kids with a decent amount of experience coming back on that side of the ball. I know I've missed a few other ones, but that's our main focus of kids that have a lot of experience coming back from last year. So excited about them.
And also on your defensive side, I know you've got an offensive lineman or somebody that already has committed to play.
That's Spencer.
Yeah, Spencer.
Spencer committed to CSU about a month ago.
Okay.
Excited about it.
And you've had a lot of players recently that has.
We've had a pretty good run over
CSU.
there. Yeah, we've had obviously Salofi, Noah, and Max are both over there right now, and now Spencer will be joining them. So we've been blessed to have those kids play close to home. It's been great.
That's great.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about your defense. Will you be having a lot of players play both ways, or where are you at on defense
we'll probably
this year?
have more play both ways this year than we have in the past, just because we're a little thinner, and we've had some good experience coming back as far as that piece goes. So at linebacker, all three of my guys that are back played quite a bit last year. Between Hayden Steffens and Jake Bennett and Aaron Lambert, they all played a bunch, and they're all back this year, which is big. Our defensive backfield, we lost a handful of kids last year, but we got some good fill-ins. The one that's back that started last year as a sophomore, obviously, is Dalton Schroeder. He'll be back, and he's going to be a player for us this year for sure. And Matteo Vitano played a bunch for us last year and started a bunch of games. He'll be back, and then his brother Angelo played a lot as a young guy last year. He'll be back as well. So we got other kids that are going to fill in the holes that have been busting their tails. So we're excited about the group, but as you guys know, you're a player or two away from being real thin real quick.
Well, and you look at some of the kids that we've talked about here in town, not just great football players. You mentioned going to CSU, but you've had kickers, you've had punters, and we've had them here in the different schools in town that have gone on to certainly do well at next level. That special teams group, who's that going to be this year for the Lobos?
Well, obviously they're both back from last year. Our punter, Saren, is back, and our kicker, Max, is also back. They're both back and had a lot of experience last year. probably more experience than we wanted, to be honest with you.
Especially the punter.
But that's a good thing. They're both, former soccer kids. Kids have been working hard, and they're back. And we got another young kid that's been coming along, pushing them too. So it's a good group. We've been blessed. Mike and Nielsen comes over. He teaches over at Bolts and comes over and works with our kickers, and he is fantastic. For me, I'm not a kicking guy, so I just, Micah, tell me your thoughts, and I let him run the show. And he's phenomenal with them. He worked hand in hand with, obviously bringing Alex up, and Alex is very successful down at CU right now, so we're blessed to have him.
Well, you talk about those special players. We go along with the team, but now let's just talk about all this realignment in this.
Yeah, the realignment in the conference, and
the
of course we've already done it 1 year. And,
correct.
So just give your thoughts on that, and then let's talk about your conference and what where you see it going, and who's the strong teams and different things.
There's no doubt there's pros and cons. I mean, there's a lot of pros to having the different conference each year, keeping things fresh, seeing new teams. That's exciting. I think the biggest reason it happened was I think they wanted really equality in seeding the playoffs. And I'm not positive that serviced itself. There's a lot of talk on the table right now that this might not materialize again. So that's still on the table. ADs and the powers that be are meeting almost monthly now, talking about that exact piece. What are we going to do for the 2018 season? Because the decision has not been made yet. There's talks of going back to the old conferences and keeping things back to the traditions of what high school football is about. And then there's other talks of trying to expand on what they've done so far. And I'm a little mixed. I'm a traditionalist. I want to make sure we don't lose sight of what high school football is all about. And some of the rivalries and stuff, I hate to see those fall by the wayside. It wasn't that long ago. We were bringing in extra seats for French Field for when we were playing Poudre or playing Fort Collins, and those days are fun. And I don't want to miss out on that. So there's a balance we have to try to find as a football community. So I'm mixed, to be truthful with you. A lot of me, the old side, like to go back and play a lot of our traditional games. I do miss doing that. So, but our conference, there's no two ways around it, and we're pretty tough. I mean, there's some Eagle Crest this year will probably be, I'm not positive they'll be the #1 team going in, but they're going to be in the top 5 for sure. They got a bunch of kids back, and that's a powerful team. If you guys saw them last year, they were very young last year, believe it or not. But they were young. They got a good group of their kids come back, so they're going to be tough.
Yeah, they were. If I remember right, they were just.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good program going there, and the size of the schools too. I mean, we've talked about this with Coach McVicker and Coach Rice also, and we will with Coach Bigelow soon. But just the sheer size of schools.
Right. That's something. I mean, we're playing against. I don't know exactly where Eagle Crest is at now. They're over 334, something like that, and it's becoming common. There's going to be a tier of probably 10, 12 teams in Denver that are all going to be 3,500, 3,000, 3,500 plus. And with football numbers dwindling a little bit just due to other sports and whatever it might be, that is a big advantage. So I'm not sure where it'll all shake down in the years to come. I know one of the things about Fort Collins is they like keeping the schools around 2,000. The idea of building a new school, I think that's kind of the premise, is they don't want to turn into schools of 3,000 kids. So how it'll all shake down the next few years, if they're going to have a 6A, how it's going to be answered, I don't know. I don't have that answer. It'll be interesting.
So what is your views then? Let's keep it just local and the camp. Just look around the city and from scrimmages and 7-on-7 and other experiences. How do you see those other 3 schools that are presently here?
Well, we just scrimmaged Eric at the beginning of the summer. We played Fort Collins early on, and it was a good scrimmage. I mean, Eric's kids battled well, and I think they're going to be a pretty good football team this year. They got a bunch of good skilled kids coming back, and they do some really good things up front.
And Jake Leone, we talked a little bit about, is one of the best receivers in the state.
Right, they got some talent over there, so it'll be a fun group to watch. He's done a nice job of them, so there's no doubt in 4A they'll be competing. At what level, we'll see where they're at. Marty over at Poudre's done a fantastic job. Those kids are truly buying in. They're doing a great job. I know his numbers are going up, and they had a good young team last year. So there's no doubt they're absolutely going to have a great football team this year. And his young team, his freshman team was good, so they'll continue to get youth, intermixed with his older kids. So they got things going the right way. And then obviously over at Fossil, they had a great senior class last year, as you guys know, and that comes and goes. But everything I can gather, they had a decent supporting crew underneath, so it's hard to say exactly where they'll be, but I know Coach is excited about them. So.
And playing those games early in the year, it's such a change. We talked about those games back in the years where you had all those extra seats and all those bodies, and the whole town got 6 weeks to build up to it. It's right out of the gate now.
Right. that's the thing that I missed, to be truthful with you. I've had conversations with Wayne Modemager, our athletic director, about that. I don't like playing a fossil on a Thursday afternoon. You know, I don't like doing. I want to have that build up for 6, 7, 8 weeks to get those games at the end of the year, and that's one of the drawbacks of the season, of the schedule the way it goes now. But you know, I mean, the beauty of it is we're still playing each other, so that's good. And you do have to be on your A game early, so we don't get a chance to see him much. We'll play Fossil week 2, right after we play Columbine, so we'll get on him quick. So it'll be interesting.
That's a good start.
Yeah,
first 2 games.
We'll find out quick.
Yeah. Columbine right out of the gate. That's Coach. He's got the program there pretty well in place, doesn't he?
Yeah, Andy does a good job down there. They seem to turn some decent football teams out every year. Yeah.
Well, let's go back then. Let's get it off the field a little bit. Each one of the coaches, and we've all talked about it, and our experiences, you get a chance to do more than just be a football coach to these kids. What is it you try to add to their scholastic life and just, you know, teach them as they're growing up?
Well, a motto that we kind of have around our program is our immediate goal is to win football games, but our ultimate goal is to build young men of character. And I'm so fortunate as a coach. I've had, this is 14 years now, I think, as a head coach, and my coaching staff is fantastic. I have men that care about kids. I live with my kids all the time, and they're about the bigger picture. They truly, truly are. And so that makes me blessed at Rocky and have those guys to help, you know, install in those kids what we want. And that's help echo our whole passion between the group. So we've been, you know, really fortunate to have that. You know, in today's changing world, we have a lot of single parent homes and homes where parents are both working to make ends meet. So kids turn to football and turn to athletics for guidance and support and helping them make right decisions. And we try our best, and there's no doubt we fall down, skin on our knees like everybody else does. But we try our best to help mold those kids to become the men that we want them to be, because at some point in time they're going to be, you know, making decisions in this city that we love. And so for us, it's really, really important. You know, our piece is, I have kids coming up through the school right now. I have a daughter that's going to be a freshman, and she's been coming to Rocky games since she was a toddler in diapers, and it's the years go by.
Feeling old there?
Yeah. You've seen her, so
I
you
remember that.
Yeah. And so it's crazy. You know, it's a school we love, and it's a culture we love, and our kids are a huge part about it. And that's really what we do it for. So.
Well, it's those bonuses, you know, those kids go on. Every one of the coaches talked about it. After a certain period of time, you've had, you know, the years add up, but then the bonuses are you see those kids that you maybe 10 years ago. And
absolutely.
And Coach Rice mentioned he talked to somebody that he thought was just recently graduated, and when he figured out the numbers, it was a little longer.
Yeah, I have, 4 coaches on my staff that have played for me, that are working for me now, and they're getting older too. So I've been at this a while. But it is, I mean, I see kids around town that I've coached 5, 10, 12 years ago with kids of their own and successful, and that's really what it's all about. I mean, records come and go.
Yeah, because you don't remember the records really after 5 or 6 years. People think you do, but
no, you don't.
You remember plays, or maybe one game or something.
You bet. There's always a player or two that'll stick out, but you remember the journey with the kids, and with your coaching staff. So that's what it's all about here at Rocky. So we're excited about it.
That's good. Well, thank you, Coach Brook. It's been a pleasure to have you, and we appreciate your time coming over here. Dave and I do, and we look forward to seeing you on Streaming Sports this year.
Well, I appreciate the support from you guys and coming out and doing the football. So it's a lot of your guys' time. So thanks for supporting our kids.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
For Coach Brook, David Haase, I'm Randy McCoy. We will see you next time.